9 Circles of Hell, from Dante's Inferno. In the early 1300s, Italian poet Dante Alighieri got bored of writing about love and philosophy and decided to take a tour of hell. However, he didn't venture into hell alone. He dragged Virgil, the ancient Roman poet from centuries earlier, along as his guide.
Can't believe I wrote this. Can't believe you dragged me into it.
And from this hellish journey came an epic, forever called Dante's Inferno. By the way, it was just the first act of his 3-part epic poem, The Divine Comedy, which also follows his climb up Mount Purgatory and eventual arrival in heaven. Level 1. Limbo. Limbo is a place where the screaming and chaos of the deeper circles of hell are noticeably absent. Instead, the air is filled with the sound of sighing. Dante described it as sorrows without any form of torment. Here, the souls are not punished physically, but exist in a state of hopeless longing. Limbo is much like Earth, with mountains, a great castle, and beautiful meadows. However, there's one catch. There's no death, no progress, and no hope.
Stuck in a Windows XP screensaver. Sweet.
Limbo was mainly filled with non-sinners, described as virtuous pagans. Basically, 3 types of people: those who died before Jesus came to wipe out original sin, stillborn children, and babies that did not live long enough to be baptized. Great philosophers like Aristotle, Socrates, and Plato, famous poets like Lucan, Horace, Ovid, and Homer, and even historical figures like Julius Caesar, all of them were in limbo. The place was also a permanent after-death home to Abraham, Moses, Noah, Rachel, and King David, just because they were born before Christ and never had the opportunity to embrace Christian salvation.
What clown thought this was a good idea? That idiot.
By the way, Jesus brought back key figures like his father Joseph, Moses, Abraham, and other important biblical figures to heaven. Adam and his son Abel are also in limbo. However, there is no mention of Eve. The whole punishment of limbo is that you can see the bright lights of heaven and the mountain glowing with God's light, but you can never go there. You are forever stuck and will never reach the paradise. Before we move on to the next circle of actual hell, let's quickly meet an important character. Minos. Minos is a giant, monstrous figure, half man, half beast with a long tail. He serves as the judge of souls, deciding who goes where in hell. Interestingly, he's a character from Greek mythology and the son of Zeus.
You're gonna drag souls like a pro. Hashtag proud dad. Hashtag dad goals. Hashtag judge and destroy.
Quick side note, while Dante's Inferno is rooted in Catholic theology, Dante wasn't shy about borrowing from Greek and Roman mythology. As each soul appears before him, he wraps his tail around his body, and the number of loops he makes will decide which circle the soul will be sent to.
I condemn you to...
Justice, baby!
Okay, yeah, definitely need to call maintenance. That's on me.
Wait, what?
Next.
Level 2. Lust. The second circle of hell is for lust and adultery. This level is consumed by powerful winds like those of a hurricane, and the souls here are constantly pushed back and forth, never allowed to rest. Winds so strong that the sound is almost like the ocean crashing against the shore. Here's the kicker. Dante's hell isn't just random chaos, every punishment fits the crime, a concept called contrapasso. Basically, sinners suffer in a way that reflects the sin they committed. So the idea here is, those who were swept away by the passions of lust now spend eternity being literally blown about by raging storms. Many of the souls in the second level of hell were kings, queens, and rulers such as Cleopatra, Helen of Troy, Paris, and Achilles. Because Dante viewed lust as a mutual indulgence, he deemed it as the least serious sin. For this reason, lust has the least severe punishment in hell. Level 3. Gluttony. The third circle of hell is for gluttons, those who ate like pigs. In this circle, it's a never-ending storm of icy rain, sleet, and hail, kind of a fitting punishment for their unquenchable appetite. At the heart of this circle lies a pit of mud, sludge, and slime, and the gluttonous are forced to wallow in the vile, putrid mud like pigs for all eternity. Adding to their misery, the sinners are tormented by Cerberus, the fearsome 3-headed hound of Greek legend. Cerberus patrols this filthy swamp, flaying and mauling the gluttonous with his claws. He picks them up, bites them in half, rips them to shreds, and tosses their remains aside as they scream in utter agony. Over time, these wretched souls lose all trace of their human form, dissolving into nothing but a reeking sludge. Level 4. Greed. Here's where those who worshipped wealth end up. Just when you think Inferno couldn't get weirder, Dante throws Pluto, the Roman god of wealth, into Christian hell, and has him worshipping Satan.
Blah, 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 blah. Praise be to the Dark Lord. Can I go home now?
Here you will find two types of people: the avaricious, those who hoarded wealth, and the prodigal, those who recklessly spent without moderation. Both the hoarders and wasters are forced to push huge, heavy weights with their chests around the circle for eternity. As they move, the two groups collide violently, smashing their weights into each other. Dante described it as a sea of people crashing into each other, like two waves violently colliding over and over again. As they crash into each other, they start yelling insults. The avaricious shout, "Why do you squander?" And the prodigal fire back, "Why do you hoard?" And of course, some souls skip the yelling part and jump straight into violence, whacking each other with money bags. No one is recognizable anymore. Years of relentless fighting have left their faces smashed and obliterated. These souls are condemned to endlessly fight and argue, just as they did over wealth on Earth. Level 5. Wrath and Sullenness. This circle is basically like an eternal rage room. It's for two kinds of people: the wrathful, those who are walking rage machines, and the sullen, those who were bitter, preferred to stew in silence, and hated the world. Now, just to be clear, this level isn't for the violent type. The real violent psychos are chilling in deeper circles. This level is veined with black streams that bleed into muddy waters, eventually expanding into the swampy marsh of the river called Styx. In this river, the wrathful are doomed to fight forever, drowning one another in a hopeless bid to rise above the surface. The sullen, meanwhile, lie buried beneath the surface, endlessly muttering hymns that bubble up as muffled nonsense. The idea is the sullen spend their lifetime refusing to express joy or gratitude, so Dante made sure they'd keep talking in death, just not in any way that makes sense.
I think I've seen enough mud for a lifetime.
Yeah, let's head out.
Dante and Virgil are in no mood to stick around and deal with muddy emotional breakdowns, and with no time to waste, they hop aboard and are ferried across the river by Phlegyas, the wrathful boatman.
Are you sure this is our ride?
It's the only ride.
He doesn't look too happy to see us. He growled at us.
He does that. It's how he says hello. He's the poster child for wrath, remember? You wrote this, right?
As they near the far shore, Dante notices a fiery red glow on the horizon. This is the city of Dis, a fortress with towering walls, guarded gates, and a ring of never-ending fire that gives it its eerie red glow. The name Dis is another name Dante uses for Lucifer, tying this cursed city directly to the ruler of hell. This city is where things get serious. It holds circles 6 to 9, reserved for the worst of the worst. I'll skip the drama, just know Dante's entry into the city of Dis was far from smooth. To make a long story short, he's stopped by fallen angels at the gate. Then, 3 terrifying furies, Alecto, Megira, and Tisiphone, show up all blood-soaked with their hair made of snakes. Things get worse when yet another character from Greek mythology, Medusa, is summoned. The problem with Medusa was, you look at her and you turn into stone. You've heard the stories. To protect Dante, Virgil turns Dante around and covers his eyes. But just when it looks like all hope's gone, a heavenly figure swoops in and opens the gates for them. Level 6. Heresy. Back in Dante's time, heresy was a huge deal. So naturally, Dante wrote a special place in hell for heretics, people who defied the orthodox teachings of the Catholic Church. The sinners are put into open flaming tombs with fallen angels overseeing the eternal punishment. Their job was to ensure the souls remained trapped, burning forever. Dante kind of wrote this for all kinds of heretics. However, he specifically targeted Epicureans, the followers of the ancient Greek thinker Epicurus. These people believed that pleasure was the highest good. To them, the soul perished with the body, and there was no afterlife and no divine judgment. So, burning them forever symbolized the eternal consequences of rejecting religious truth. Level 7. Violence. The 7th circle of hell is divided into 3 concentric rings, each punishing a different form of violence. The outermost ring is for people who committed violence against others. This ring is home to the Phlegathon, a river of boiling blood. This river symbolizes the violent actions these souls committed during their lives. Here, the sinners are trapped in the river, boiling for eternity. And how deep the souls sink depends on how violent they were. The more blood they spilled, the deeper they drowned. Also, the river is patrolled relentlessly by thousands of furious centaurs. The moment a soul tries to escape, the centaurs shoot arrows to force them right back into the boiling river. The middle ring is for those who have committed violence against themselves. That is, those who harmed their own bodies or, tried to delete themselves. Such acts are considered sins because they reject life, a sacred gift from God. This ring is a twisted, eerie forest filled with dead, lifeless trees. These trees are the souls of the sinners deeply rooted in the forest, unable to move or reclaim their human form. Adding to the torment, harpies, ghastly creatures with bird-like bodies and human faces, constantly attack the trees. The harpies tear at the branches and feast on their fruits, forcing the trees to bleed and scream in anguish. When Judgment Day arrives and everyone's body is restored, the souls here won't fully regain theirs. Instead, their bodies will hang lifelessly from the tree, an eternal reminder of their choice. Yeah, I know, this got pretty dark. Curiously, spendthrifts are also put in the circle. The idea behind them being in this circle is that they spent their money like fools, leading to their own destruction. Their punishment? Their naked souls are hunted by dogs in a never-ending chase. How fun! Finally, the innermost ring of the seventh circle is for blasphemy, unnatural acts, and usury that is loan sharks. Basically, Dante's version of violence against God, nature, and art. Now, don't let the word art throw you off.
You mean not this art?
No, definitely not this art. Here, it meant someone's trade or profession, like medicine, law, or in the case of moneylenders, banking. This ring is a barren desert covered in scorching sand. Fiery flakes rain down endlessly from the sky, igniting the ground. Flocks of naked sinners are scattered across the sand. The sinners who are running are those guilty of violence against nature. Their constant running symbolizes their endless craving for unnatural passion. The seated sinners committed violence against art. Every sinner here has a purse hanging from their neck, their eyes locked on it, a symbol of their obsessive love for wealth. Each purse bears a distinct color in the sinner's family crest. And finally, the blasphemers are the ones that are lying flat on the burning sand, face upward towards the sky. These are the most tormented, producing the loudest cries of pain. Level 8. Fraud. The eighth circle of hell, also known as Malabolza, is for fraud. This circle is a vast stone pit divided into 10 concentric trenches or bolgia, each for a different type of fraud. These trenches are linked by broken bridges, leftovers from when Christ died and all hell broke loose. The first bolgia is for panderers, seducers, human traffickers, and those who manipulate or sell love for personal gains. These souls are forced to run back and forth endlessly while being whipped by devils. They are beaten even more severely if they slow down. The second bolgia is for deceptive speakers and flatterers who manipulate others through lies. Here, the souls are immersed in a giant pit of excrement, symbolizing the filth of their false words.
Here in my trench, just got this brand new 9-figure misery hole. But you know what I value more than rolling around in this pit? Knowledge. Just dropped my 97 Steps to Success course. Sign up for my course. Link in the bio.
Let's just pretend we didn't see that. Anyways, the souls here constantly fight and struggle, plagued by sores and surrounded by an unbearable stench. It all reflects the moral rot they spread in life. The third bolgia is for simoniacs, corrupt clergy who sell sacred goods or church offices for personal gain. This bolgia has a fiery ground with burning rocks and holes and a pungent smell of sulfur. Souls are buried headfirst in holes in fiery rock with only their legs and feet exposed. The flames burn their legs, and as they try to move, the flames flare up even higher. Their upside-down burial is a metaphor for how greed flipped their values and trapped them. The fourth bolgia is for sorcerers and false prophets, such as astrologers, fortune-tellers, and seers who claimed to see the future. Here, the heads of all the souls are twisted backwards so they can only see behind them, a mockery of their supposed foresight. A cruel irony, forever condemned to gaze backward, blind to what lies ahead. The fifth bolgia is for barrators, corrupt politicians who betrayed public trust by trading influence and authority for money. They are submerged in a massive boiling pit of tar. The souls of the damned struggle and thrash, trying hopelessly to escape the oppressive heat. The pit is also patrolled by monstrous, menacing demons. These demons, armed with hooks, force down anyone who tries to surface. The sixth Bolgia is for hypocrites, those who pretended to be virtuous and pious while hiding their inner deceit and moral corruption. Here, the sinners are made to walk endlessly in heavy, gilded cloaks lined with lead. The gold represents their shiny lies, while the lead beneath represented the weight of their deceit. Now they're stuck with the weight of their lies for all eternity. Even Caiaphas, who played a key role in Christ's crucifixion, suffers here for eternity. He is crucified on the ground, and the souls of the hypocrites must walk over him as they pass through the Bolgia. The seventh Bolgia is for thieves. This Bolgia is downright weird, but hang in there, it's weird for a reason. It has strange hybrid creatures that are part lizard, part snake, and have deadly stingers. One sting from these creatures and the soul turns to ash. There are also snakes that bound and suffocate souls for eternity. There's even a strange six-legged worm-like demon that can turn a soul into some kind of reptilian. And in another twisted moment, a soul turns into a spider after getting stung by a giant scorpion. The idea behind these weird punishments is that thieves not only steal material possessions, but also trust and identity. So now these sinners are eternally deprived of their own identity in physical form, constantly shifting and transforming in an endless cycle. The eighth Bolgia is for evil leaders and counselors, those who use their influence and leadership to mislead others into destruction, betrayal, or death. This is a vast, dark, open space. As Dante peers down into the pit, he sees tiny flickering flames in the distance, like fireflies in the night. However, as he gets closer, he sees that each sinner is completely engulfed in quote-unquote tongues of fire, their physical forms entirely hidden. Many scholars say that Dante didn't just come up with this punishment randomly. He took inspiration from the Bible, specifically the New Testament, Book of Acts chapter 2 verse 3, where the Holy Spirit appears as tongues of fire to inspire truth. Dante just flipped it, and now the same tongues of fire are burning these deceitful sinners. As for some famous people in this ring you might know of, it has Ulysses, the hero of the Trojan horse myth. After the war, he gathered his men and set sail across uncharted seas. At the time, people believed that Ulysses and his men perished because the world had an end, and Ulysses sailed beyond it. So, in Dante's view, Ulysses used his intellect for lies, which is why he ended up here. The ninth Bolgia is for sowers of discord, people who cause division and conflicts within society, whether in religion, politics, or families. The sinners here are repeatedly hacked and torn apart by demons with swords. Simply put, this represents how they divided others during their lifetime. And since the souls cannot die, they're forced to endure the eternal pain of their wounds. This Bolgia looks like an endless sea of carnage where body parts, arms, legs, heads are scattered everywhere. The 10th Bolgia is for falsifiers like liars, alchemists, counterfeiters, impersonators, and purgers. In Dante's eyes, these people were the absolute rot of society. So instead of getting burned or hacked up like the rest, they're left to rot, both body and mind. Here, souls suffer from grotesque diseases. The sinners are covered in thick, oozing scabs. The souls keep scratching at their bodies furiously until they bleed, but the scabs always grow back and the cycle of pain never ends. The trench is filled with madness. The sinners, consumed by the pain of their rotting bodies, are driven to madness and engage in violent fights. The air is filled with the stench of decay, and the cries of the souls echo through the suffocating darkness. Before reaching the ninth and final circle of hell, Dante and Virgil encounter 6 giants: Nimrod, Ephialtes, Briareus, Antaeus, Tychos, and Typhon. While not all of them are described in detail, a few stand out with notable stories. First, there's Nimrod, the Babylonian who tried to build the Tower of Babel to reach the heavens. His arrogance led to the tower's destruction by God, which resulted in the scattering of humanity into countless languages.
Okay, the tower's gone, my labor, my time, my shot at a promotion, any chance of long-term employment, and my lower back. Everything's gone. Almost forgot the fiancé. She's gone too. Turns out, unemployed isn't her type. Can't get worse than this, right?
No sé qué estás diciendo.
Never mind, I stand corrected.
So now Nimrod's stuck forever mumbling, no one able to understand a word he says, and he can't make sense of anything either. Next is Ephialtes, one of the rebellious giants who dared to wage war against the gods. Now he is bound forever in chains, endlessly reminded of his failure. Finally, the poets encounter Antaeus, an unchained giant celebrated for his incredible strength. Apparently, had he been alive during the war against Olympian gods, the giants might have won.
He's strong, yeah, but probably slow. Right? Please say right. You want to die? 'Cause that's how we die.
By the way, I think the reason Antaeus wasn't chained is because he wasn't one of the giants who fought the Olympians. In fact, he belonged to a completely different mythological tradition. Remember, Dante wasn't writing a history textbook, he was building a symbolic universe, kind of like the Marvel universe. And Dante just used Antaeus as a plot device to move the story forward. Anyways, after a bit of flattery from Virgil, Antaeus agrees to help and gently lowers the two poets to the edge of the ninth circle. And now we finally arrive at the final circle of hell. Level 9. Treachery. This circle is the home of the most treacherous of sinners. At its heart lies Cocytus, an enormous frozen lake said to be the very center of the universe. Dante describes a constant freezing wind sweeping through this level, and the lake has a smooth and glass-like surface, almost like a mirror. This level is also divided into 4 rings. The first ring is named Kaina, after the biblical figure Cain, who murdered his brother. And as you might have guessed, here traitors to their families are punished. The lake is filled with souls stuck neck deep in ice. However, they have room to bow down their heads, symbolizing shame. The cold is so intense that tears freeze off the sinners' faces, and some of the damned even have their ears frozen off. There are even 2 brothers down here who killed each other. Their foreheads are frozen together, locked in an eternal embrace. So now they're stuck with this twisted punishment, constantly reminded of the bond they broke. Dante writes that family betrayal is the least grievous because family bonds are not chosen, but given. The next ring is for souls that betrayed their country or homeland. It is called Antenora, named after Antenor of Troy, who betrayed his city by opening the gates to the Greeks. This place is similar to Kaina. The sinners are trapped in ice up to their necks, but it's even colder here, and their punishment is harsher. They're frozen slightly deeper and can't move their heads. This time, some of the sinners even have their mouth frozen shut. The third ring in the ninth circle is for betrayal of friends and guests. This section is called Telomia, named after Ptolemy, a governor who killed his relatives during a banquet. This is a deeper ring because these relationships are based on trust and free will. The sinners lie on their backs, fully submerged in the ice with their faces protruding from the frozen lake. The cold is so severe that their tears freeze, sealing their eyes shut and leaving them blind for eternity. Dante also adds a chilling detail. Some souls are so evil that their spirits are damned before their bodies even die. A demon takes over their body on earth while the soul is sent straight to hell. The fourth and final ring of the ninth circle, called Judica, is for those who betrayed God. Here, the traitors are fully immersed in ice, their bodies twisted and contorted. No cries or pleas can be heard here, as they are entirely frozen. The icy winds in this ring have become so intense that Dante has to stand behind Virgil to shield himself from the gusts. This ring is also home to the king of hell, Lucifer. Lucifer's size is almost beyond comprehension. His body is so massive that Dante can only see his upper half. Lucifer is rocking 3 heads, each one a different color. The face looking forward is bright red, the one on his right is a grimy yellow, and the one on his left is pitch black. Under each of his faces are 2 massive bat-like wings, flapping non-stop. They're the source of the cold winds that keep the lake frozen. Lucifer is also weeping from all 6 eyes, and a mess of tears, blood, and drool runs down his 3 chins. All 3 heads of Lucifer are chewing on the most treacherous souls. Crammed headfirst in Lucifer's red face is Judas Iscariot, the ultimate traitor who betrayed Jesus Christ. The other 2 souls are Brutus and Cassius, condemned for their role in assassinating Julius Caesar. Brutus is wedged feet first in the black face, and Cassius gets the yellow. For their betrayal, they suffer the worst fate, chewed for eternity by Lucifer himself. And here's the twist. Dante didn't spare Lucifer either. He punishes him too, a prisoner of hell, frozen, gagged, and gnawing in eternal misery. At this point, Dante and Virgil decide they've seen enough, and it's time to peace out of hell. With Dante on his back, Virgil grabs onto Lucifer and starts the long climb down the shaggy sides of Lucifer's frozen body. All of a sudden, in the middle of the climb down, Virgil turns around and starts climbing up. Dante is now confused and thinks that they're climbing back up Lucifer's body, After some time, Virgil carefully turns and climbs away from Lucifer onto a rocky passage. Dante, expecting to see Lucifer's chest, is surprised to see Lucifer's leg sticking upward. Virgil explains that they've passed the center of the earth, where gravity reverses, and now they're ascending on the other side of the world. They continue climbing through the narrow passage and finally emerge on the other side of the world, at the base of Mount Purgatory. Dante ends Inferno here with the line, "Then we emerged to see again the stars." And there you have it, 9 circles of hell from Dante's Inferno. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe for more weird stuff like this. See you in the next one.